Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is a single-player action-adventure developed by Respawn Entertainment and published by Electronic Arts. The game is officially released in November 2019 and was available on PC, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Game starts 5 years after the execution of Order 66 and the beginning of the Great Jedi Purge. You start out as a former Jedi Padawan Cal Kestis, who is hiding on a planet Bracca from the newly risen Galactic Empire. Everything gets complicated when Cal uses the Force to save his friend Prof from falling to his imminent death. The incident is recorded by Imperial probe droid, who immediately relays information to Empire, who sends out 2 Inquisitors in order to terminate him. After they kill his friend Prof, Cal makes his escape to planet Bogano, where he's supposed to find the remainings of ancient civilization called Zephyr, and the Jedi holocron containing a list of Force-sensitive children that can help him rebuild the Jedi Order. I don't want to spoil the story any further, so I'm gonna stop here for now. In the meanwhile, you can like and subscribe to the channel and also tell your friends and family about it. They might enjoy it as well. Let's continue with the story.
Yoda.
Straight off the bat, I've been playing the game for quite some time now, and I'm happy to report it's pretty great. Seems like EA Games didn't screw this one up, at least not entirely. Don't get me wrong, it's far from perfect and I'll get to that, but the bottom line is, they created a solid Star Wars game. The game has a great storytelling in place, puzzles that will definitely make you think and sometimes even brainstorm what and how something needs to be done. Combat animations is an area where they definitely outdo themselves. They went above and beyond to raise the bar on that part of the game, and that's probably the reason why it feels so smooth and enjoyable. While we are talking about the combat, with every single enemy kill you collect experience. Accumulated experience gives you skill points that can later be used to unlock and level up your abilities, add meditation points that serve as checkpoints as well. Skill tree has a couple of branches, one leading to the Force, another to the lightsaber, and the last one to survival, which is pretty much a different name for defensive abilities. As you progress throughout the game and as abilities get unlocked, there is possibility you will be able to get back to some planets and open some doors in dungeons that were previously locked due to the lack of necessary spells or abilities. Because of that, you can re-explore the map a couple of times if you like, which gives a replayability a nice twist. There are 3 main difficulty modes, and the game does a pretty good job explaining which one is for you. You can choose from easy, normal and hard, and from my understanding, it's basically a difference in how long the deflection, dodge or parry window will be open when you fight an enemy. There is also a slight health and damage output difference enemies can do to you, but the core of the difficulties is in timings like I mentioned before. Throughout the game you find some cool cosmetics like ship parts, droid skins and, what I'm most excited about, the lightsaber parts, which you can use to tweak the look and the color of the lightsaber with various sleeves, emitters and construction materials. Those changes are purely cosmetic, and some parts slightly change the sound of the sword, but nothing major. One thing to keep in mind here is there is a lot of platforming, and I mean a lot. You're gonna find yourself constantly climbing around, wall running, jumping, falling and dying, and restarting the level all over again a couple of times, which was kind of fun and enjoyable for me, but have that in mind if buying the game, because it's definitely not for everyone. Also have in mind the game is PEGI 16, because there is some violence involved, and the puzzles can be quite difficult as well. And of course there are some challenging parts of the game, so keep that in mind. Now, there are some technical issues with the game. I was personally testing out the game on PS4 and on PC. And I have to say that the game looks and runs way better on the PC than on PlayStation 4, graphics-wise at least. Which is, I mean, understandable in a way, having in mind that the PlayStation 4 is 4 years old now. The part of a problem that both platforms share, and judging by the reviews of other people that play the game on Xbox, which apparently has the same issues, is there are some pretty odd textures in the game. There are some models popping up during the cutscenes. There is a thing that actually bothered me the most, which is a huge frame drops in some areas of the game, especially when getting off the ship when the game was clearly still loading in the background. On the moments, it felt it dropped to like 10, 15 frames, which was terrible and barely playable. People would expect the game to be pretty polished and completed, having in mind it was $60 for standard version of the game and $70 for deluxe version. I mean, overall, it's nothing game-breaking, but noticeable to the point I really hope they're gonna patch things up with the upcoming updates, because some areas of the game really feel slightly undercooked. I don't want to go into the story too much, as I'm aware that some of you guys still haven't played the game, but in my opinion the game kinda ends just when it starts to get really interesting. Maybe they're gonna make a sequel? Who knows? Overall, I think it's a pretty good game. Respawn did an amazing job here, and on top of that, the game is free of VIA Games' microtransactions, which I know majority of the people is gonna appreciate. Honestly, I really hope it stays that way. You made it still here, so achievement unlocked! Pros. Respawn Entertainment did an amazing job creating a single-player action-adventure game that truly resonates even with the hardcore Star Wars fans. Whether you like the exploration platformers or not, it is the game you definitely have to try out. Despite the fact there are some texture issues in some parts of the game, and it still looks graphically amazing. I mean, especially on the PC, where you can tune your settings up a lot higher than it is on the consoles currently. Combat feels amazing, it's smooth, it's energetic, and most importantly, it feels really satisfying. Everything you can ask from AAA action adventure is there. Story feels great and fits perfectly into the Star Wars universe. It's not super deep, but it does the job just about right. Cutscenes are something where it's clearly visible the Respawn put a lot of time and effort in. Sometimes I even get a feeling it's a cinematic, especially on scenes with moving backgrounds far in distance. Even easiest difficulty level sometimes feels challenging, which is great because no one wants a stormtrooper dummies with bad aim and ridiculously low IQ like it was in a previous Star Wars games. Thumbs up for that. Game has a pretty good replayability potential, as you're constantly unlocking new spells and abilities, which helps you reach the areas that were previously unreachable. Cons. Despite the fact there is a huge replayability potential, 17 hours of the main storyline might not be quite enough for some people. Having in mind how pricey the game is, I believe that everyone would expect at least 25 to 30 hours of the main baseline story. Also, the story gets really interesting just before the game ends, and so it's definitely not something that I would consider positive. Maybe it's not minus, a huge one at least, but it's definitely not a plus either. Some puzzles are overly complicated, which might give a good headache and some pretty long brainstorming sessions to the younger crowd or to the people that don't have that much of a puzzler experience under their belt. The biggest thing I definitely cannot chew through about this game is how poorly optimized it is. All the platforms have the same issues with the weird textures, clunky cutscenes and frame drops in some areas that really kills the mood. Another thing to have in mind is that PlayStation 4 has way more issues than other platforms, especially with game stuttering whilst the outside environment is still loading. It's probably due to the very slow mechanical drive inside, but it's so bad that the game is barely playable. I really hope they will fix it as soon as possible. Thank you guys for watching. That was about it from me for today. If you liked the video, don't be a pussy. Hit that like and subscribe button down below. Tell your friends and family about my channel and how amazing it is. And in case you didn't like the video, go fuck. I'm just kidding.